Before the video begins, I would like to mention that I only did shortcuts that need some skill and not just a mushroom. Also, I wanted to include something from every track. So for some tracks like Peach Beach and Dandelion Depths, I decided to just do something. Like for Peach Beach, I did the fountain cut thing, and Dandelion Depths, I just took the little middle path with the gray section. So yeah, enjoy the video. First on the list was the Mario Bros. Circuit Rail Ride. For this one, I was able to complete it in 30 seconds, and it only took me one try. After Mario Bros. Circuit was Crown City's Nisk. This one took me one try, and it only took 2 minutes and 30 seconds to complete. Next was Whistle Stop Summit's Nisk, which I almost failed, but it ended up working out, so I counted it. This next shortcut, however, it took me about 15 tries. This one, however, was super motivating because I was so close to getting it. But then we were able to make it super close, but just barely failed at the end. But when all hope seemed lost, I finally was able to make it. Next was DK Spaceport, and for this first cut, I ended up failing it about 3 times until finally making it on that attempt. For the path switch here, I ended up getting it first try. On Desert Hills, I was able to do the charge jump cut in 3 tries, and by the time I finished, I was already 10 minutes into the challenge. Shy Guy Bazaar was the track that probably amazed me the most, because I kid you not, it would take me about 15 tries to get this cut, but I actually was able to complete it in 1 try. On Wario Stadium, I was able to complete the shortcut in 1 try, and after I completed it, I was just hitting minute 13. I was on great pace. After Wario Stadium was Airship Fortress, and I was able to get the rail strat on the first try. And then for the charge jump shortcut, it ended up taking me 2 tries. DK Pass had 3 shortcuts, so I started with the pole cut right there, and then after I decided to do the little wall strat going into the tree strat, but the tree strat ended up failing the first time, and so I decided to come back on it on the second lap. And then here, I was able to do the wall strat on the first try, and then I had my second attempt at the tree strat. But for the tree strat, I ended up kind of failing towards the end, but it ended up working out really nicely. On Sky High Sunday, I decided to do the little wall ride right here, and it took me 1 attempt to complete. Next was Starview Peak, and I was able to get this little charge jump cut in 1 try. The beginning shortcut on Wario Shipyard took me 4 tries to complete because I kept missing the palm tree before wall riding on the wall, but I finally was able to get it right. And then for the second cut, it took me about 4 tries to get correct, in which I did miss the palm tree, which is just a little bit faster, but it worked. After completing Boring Beaches cut, I went over to Faraway Oasis and was able to do the rail strat on my first attempt. After I completed the cut, I was on great pace because I was just reaching minute 23. But now we need to speedrun the next few. On Peach Beach, I landed the trick on the fountain first try. On Salty Speedway, I was able to get the first shortcut on my first try, slightly clipping the grass, but it was all perfectly fine. And then I was able to get this cut from the pole, also first try. On Dino Jungle, I did the trick from the dinosaur, first try. I was able to get the brick question block ruin cut on my first try. But then Cheap Falls' Nisk was the one to end the streak of first attempts. It took me about 8 attempts to get this one right, and by the time I did get it, I was just passing the 30-minute mark. There was nothing for me to do on Dandelion Depths, so I just decided randomly to just take this middle path on the gray little section of the bottom. I was able to get the rail strat on Blue Cinema on my first time, almost failed it. And then for this little wall strat, then detach onto the finish line pole, I ended up failing this one 8 times. And that time I almost made it, but this time I was able to make it, completing Blue Cinema. Dry Bones Burnout was a really easy one because for both cuts, I was able to get it on my first try. Moon Meadows took the longest to complete, mainly because it has 4 cuts remainder. I was able to get that cut on my first attempt. Then this one, I failed the first attempt. But then here, I was able to get that one first attempt. Here, I ended up failing again, in a really weird way though. Right here. Super weird. And then I attempted it again, and I failed it again. And then I was actually able to make this one this time. And then I was finally able to get it after 3 attempts. I failed my first attempt on the Shrimless cut, but then I made it on my second attempt on Choco Mountain. I was able to land on the rails being held up by the crane on Toad's Factory and complete that. I was able to complete Bowser Castle's first cut in 2 attempts, and I was also able to complete the second cut in only 2 attempts. By the time I finished, I was on minute 42. I was able to get the Acorn Heights Nisk on my first attempt. I was able to get the Nisk, the little wall strat, and this wall strat on my first attempt. Even though it's not the fastest path, I decided to do this little path right here because it could be really useful in races to dodge chaos, and also it allows you to get onto this rail. While it takes me forever to get to the cut on Rainbow Road, what doesn't take forever is liking and subscribing. It helps me out a ton, and if you made it this far, you must have liked the video. So please consider doing that. And with that, I can officially say I completed every shortcut in 48 minutes, 9 seconds. That was well under an hour. So thanks for watching.